Welcome everybody to the next community AMA coming from Oxen. Today we are here with Chris, the CEO of Oxen. He's going to be answering any and all questions that you have for him. How are you doing this morning, Chris?
Alex, I'm doing good. I'm feeling pretty fresh. I was at a bit of an event last night. OKX had a launch party. So I'm as fresh as I can be after going to such a lovely event.
Yeah, tell me a bit more about it. How was it?
It was good. It was good. Yeah, Melbourne, I think OKX is setting up shop in Australia soon, which is great. Met some interesting people, some cryptographers, some big hedge fund managers, and gave me a lot of inspiration about the future of crypto. I thought a lot of the institutional organizations would be, scared after FTX, but then you talk to them and they're like, yeah, we're on the side of eating FTX. They're on the eating side. So it's good to see people with their heads screwed on. Very spooky as a concept, but yeah, it's there's a lot of smart people just stepping into the space at the right pace. So it gives me a lot of confidence, but a bit spooky at the same time.
All right, I'm going to start off with a bit of a hard-hitting question here. How do you plan to boost Oxen's utility and adoption? Speaking about the coin here.
Yeah, cool. So with Oxen, a lot of people have noticed that we have been focused on sort of session over the last 12 to 24 months. Part of the long-term trajectory and sort of strategy for the project has been to build a product that's special, is different, and is able to set us aside from all the competition and sort of captivate that energy and then bring it to Oxen. So in terms of utility specifically, we can this year, if we sort of focus, get everything done as we've sort of planned, if we can get the session monetization plan out Q3, Q4, we get Lokinet MVP monetization out this year, it really is going to change the current perspective of what Oxen is and what Oxen does. And even in our messaging now, when we talk about Oxen, when we talk about our products. So I was at that conference last night, OKX, this is not conference, this launch party. And, chatting to a bunch of people, they're like, yeah, I know about Session, I use it all the time. I'm like, hilarious. I assume you know about Oxen as well. And a lot of people don't know about Oxen. And some people in the community are quite frustrated by this concept. But it's sort of something that we did purposefully so we could penetrate the global market as effectively as we can with minimal friction. So we've got the users coming to Session, we've got the users on Session. And at this point in time, it's the easy part of, you already love Session. I realize now that it's running on Oxen and you can be a part of it. And that's kind of what makes it special. And that's what creates that utility. It doesn't create the utility, but it's sort of, it's engaging with the utility from the users on Session. So yeah, I'm really excited to bring everything together. Not only, I won't go too much into that, but that's kind of the basic concept of it, is sort of changing in a concise way, going from maximum growth, gaining momentum, gaining community, gaining users, to then bringing it all together as well. So yeah. Have we cut out? You can hear me? Yeah, we're good? Excellent. Lovely.
Yeah, all good. I had a slight connectivity issue there, but yeah, interesting just to pile on a little bit on the marketing side. A big focus that we have, we've built this really strong and popular brand and product with Session, right? And like you say, a lot of people already know all about it. And now really strengthening the connection between Oxen and Session, making sure that people realize, the value that they bring to each other. Is a really important thing for us going forward from the marketing side of things.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I'm going to move on to the next question. So this one's a really interesting one, actually. What can we do? And by we, I think this person means the community. What can we do to help grow the value of Oxen?
Excellent. I was hoping this wasn't your question, Alex, because I'm going to say you're doing a great job. Keep it going. Communicating like this, absolutely fantastic. But in terms of the community, straight up positivity, communicating in a way that is sort of like clear in terms of like if you want to help the project. Putting forward ideas is fantastic. Saying things in sort of polite, positive way in the communities, keeping the communities positive, so we can allow new people to join and feel comfortable and happy. It's really valuable to the project. Negativity in a community does not attract new users. So I don't know if people have realized this. Sometimes you'll have someone in the community quite negative. And I'm not saying don't give us critical feedback. I also love feedback. Anyone who knows me knows that I love feedback and I take it on board and I apply changes as quickly as I can when I see there's something to improve on. So I love feedback, but sort of like not pointless, but sort of not clear, very negative, sort of fuddy sort of stuff internally on the communities really doesn't help us. Grab that, try and find the actual underlying problem, and then actually resolve it to grow the community. So really positivity. Let us know if you see like a guide or something in our documentation or videos or something like that that you have constructive feedback on. We would love to grab that, use that, and apply it. If you have ideas in terms of growing the positivity in the community, hit us up. We do have a few strategies being worked on at this time, but we're always open to more feedback. So the actual value of Oxen, outside of the communities and outside of like the communication touch points, I guess helping us get echoing things that we do. So if we have a campaign, goes through some if you see something on Twitter, if you see something in a news article, if you see something that's related to us, have to tag us, bring us in, give us a little shout out. You see this quite often on Twitter. It's really cool. You see someone of influence, let them know about Session, let them know about Oxen and Lokinet, and really just getting the messaging out there in a really polite way, not in like a poor quality shilly way, but in a really positive, polite way. Hey guys, you haven't seen Session yet. You should get on it. You should get on it. So bringing people into the products allows us to funnel them to Oxen, which then allows us to increase the value of the sort of ecosystem and project.
Happy community, happy life. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh, you're right. You're right.
I think as well, just as a little teaser, I know we floated the idea of revamping or reintroducing the Oxen Nights in a lab update probably a month ago now, which had a pretty, I would love to say mixed, but actually in reality, it was a negative response from the community. People don't want to see the return of the Oxen Nights, but we have some other ideas for how we can work together and work more closely with the community on some of the stuff, like you were saying, sharing information with each other, sharing ideas with each other, getting a bit of knowledge share and information share, pulling in the. So yeah, I'm really excited to share some of those plans with the community in the coming weeks. But that's just a little bit of a teaser from the marketing side. Speaking of teasers, something we've been teasing actually for a while is Lokinet Exit Marketplace. We've been talking a lot about this. And so this person is asking, when will the exit node monetization documentation be released to the public? They want it. They want to see it.
Yeah, I would love to just drop it today. But now, I don't want to say their name. If you release too much data about what you're going to do, and you don't do it and you don't put all your eggs into that basket as quickly as you can to sort of get in front of others, people may try and copy that idea before we're at a point where we're happy with it. So look, I gotta have a chat with some absolute geniuses on the Lokinet team and core. Look, what month are we in now? March, nearly April. All right, April. We'll see it in April. Hold your breath for the whole month until you see it.
All right, there you go. April. That's the quickest and cleanest answer you could possibly give. Oh yeah, when? April. This question, another one about the community. With the recent drop in the price and the community's reaction to that drop, is the team feeling pressured or overwhelmed, or have you already been under a lot of pressure over the last few years and it's just same?
We're always in a pressure cooker, Alex. But no, in terms of the recent Oxen drop, that absolutely sucked. No doubt about it. I sort of, we don't control the market, but we do sort of control where we're going. We control our destiny and our fate. So we're trying to, just communicate what we're doing and what we're doing, when we're going to be doing it, and how we're going to get there. So that's sort of our sort of cards. That's what we have to play. So I'm really confident in what we're doing and where we're going. For us, it's about getting there and bringing everyone with us. So I'm not too phased about the short-term stuff. It is, I wouldn't say overwhelming, but I would say when the price goes down, the FUD goes up. And I know some people probably noticed that I probably popped out of the Telegram communities a little bit over the last week. It's not because I'm trying to like avoid the FUD or whatever. I've just done it so many times, and my whole goal is to be like, okay, great. How do we solve this problem? Like, how do we get past this? And if I'm sort of, a lot of the FUD was people were scared, people were frustrated, and they're sort of thinking things and saying, oh, this is probably true. This is the thing that's happening. I can engage with every single one and disprove them, but that's going to take quite a bit of time. And what I want to do is actually solve the problem. What I want to do is get the team moving in the right direction and get the project moving in the right direction. So I sort of gave it a few days off to make sure that I could hyper focus on like resolving this in as best we can. And then from there, at the end of and once things sort of steadied out a bit, I was like, great, I'll come in, I'll answer these questions. They're like pretty simple things, but you know, it just turns into like a word battle. And I just want to make sure that we can actually solve the problem and spend time on the things that are going to move us forward. So I would say, yeah, it's always pressure. I would say pressure from the get-go, pressure from even, there's always pressure. Crypto and startup pressure is wild. You say one wrong thing, the whole world turns upside down, and then, you know, everything's on fire and a ton of pressure. So yeah, I'm keeping my cool and I'm staying focused, I would say.
Absolutely. And I have to say as well, you know, it's easy to get really caught up in the negativity when we see things like price drop, you know, even the team, it sucks for us too. But I want to give a shout out and take a moment of appreciation to the community members out there who don't get caught up in it, stay positive and stay supportive. And the messages of support that we've received from some community members over the last, you know, 2-week period, it's been really nice to see, really heartwarming.
Yeah, no, actually on that note, I definitely have had a few people DM me, say, you know, give me some constructive feedback or some thoughts on things. And also I think maybe 3 or 4 people have said, I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing with the project. I love where you're taking things. So internally, I do appreciate those little nice words. It actually means a lot to me and allows me to, you know, that sort of positivity, I know this might sound lame, but that positivity energizes me, energizes the team, energizes us, and I assume it energizes the community to all just go a little bit harder, to go a little bit better to take the project to where we want to get it to. So yeah, it's all appreciated. Thanks community, appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, moving on. Are there any plans to add an Oxen wallet to Session? This seems like an obvious way for Session to support the Oxen coin, which, as we've already pointed out, is something we're focusing on.
I want to, this year, we've released the roadmap. It wasn't in there. It wasn't in there for a specific reason that once we bring the wallet into Session, the Session application, everything changes. It'll create a lot more friction points. So it really is about timing, and it's about the right timing. I think we will, but the reason why I don't want to talk about this is because whatever we talk about is what we're doing. And I don't want to talk about stuff we're not doing because I don't want to bring distraction from all the amazing things that we are working on. So yes, I would like to bring the Oxen wallet into Session in the future. Yes, I would like to bring more wallets into the future, but focusing on that right now and talking about that right now will only create disappointment because that's not a focus point of the project right now. And it will create friction points, which will stop us hitting multi-millions of users on Session sort of this year. So I don't want to go too far into that number, but like, if we it's going to create friction points that are going to really slow us down. So it's about minimizing friction points, maximizing growth, and then returning the value to the ecosystem and the Oxen project.
An interesting suggestion that this person has made as well is the possibility of adding other cryptocurrencies into Session as well as Oxen to try and increase adoption, bring people in. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool. Obviously, we need to look out for our Oxen first and foremost. But it'd be pretty cool as a concept. Like, this is not a promise of doing things, so don't take it this way. But I think it's kind of cool that you see a bunch of crypto communities moving to Session already. Like, I've seen a few. It's like a Bitcoin Cash, Japan Bitcoin Cash communities on Session, which is really awesome. It's like a Monero Australia I saw in there. It's hard to, like, someone has to tell you about these communities to find them at this stage, but it's really a crypto to it as well. it would, I think it would really multiply their interest in the project as well. But at the same time, we really need to be looking out for Oxen because everything's built on Oxen. So we don't want to, it's a bit of a fine line to balance there. It's like, yes, user growth, but are we going to be directing as much value to Oxen as we can? And we need to make sure of that. So bit of a balance.
Absolutely. All right. When will we start paying people who contribute code with Oxen?
Right now. Why are we paying people already? Let's get some checks sent. We pay people for some community stuff. Send me your name, send me what you've done, send you some Oxen, let's do it. We actually have paid a few people to do some really cool stuff. There's a guy I don't know if he wants to be doxed, a lovely gentleman around the world who helped us with our Oxen wallets a little while ago, and we paid him in Oxen as well. And he was a really cool community contributor, really appreciate him. I'll leave his name out of it just because I haven't checked that he wants to be doxed. But yeah, yes, we do, and we will continue to pay people in Oxen for contributing. Maybe we should build something like Oxen Nights, but for contributions. The little catch here is that application consistency is really important because we get frustrations from people using one platform or another, and one having features and one not. So we got to. It's not a free for all. It's not a build, choose your own adventure build party, because that will cause us headaches. But there are specific things that we'd be happy to get people to build, and we would pay them. So if you have an idea, you can always actually apply to the OPTF for a grant for an activity. Maybe we could put the link in this as well. So if you do have something you want to do, we're here, send it in, we'll review it, and we'll get back to you. So please.
Absolutely. Yeah, we always appreciate very, very greatly our community contributors. Very important part of the project. This person wants to know, how can they buy Oxen with a debit card and move it into their Oxen wallet? And then they've also asked, is it legal to invest in Oxen, and how much money can you legally invest?
As much as I'd love to give everybody investment advice, I do not. So I'm gonna skip past the how much was it. Anyway, I'll just answer what I can out of that. I think if you're in the UK and you have a debit card, you can probably go through KuCoin. If you can't go through KuCoin, I would Google it, check it. Otherwise, you got Bittrex. Yeah, Bittrex. I think you should be able to go direct from a debit card to Bittrex or KuCoin. And if that doesn't work, for some reason, your debit card does not work through those ones, you can always go to your local, I don't know what's local in the UK. I haven't been there before, so I can't recommend any specific local exchanges. But if you have a local exchange that takes your fiat on-ramp, buying any crypto and then going to such lovely exchanges such as KuCoin, Trader goes is an old and golden. And it's like Coin. What's the other one again? Sorry, I'm sort of drawing a little blank here. There's a few that we're on. Also Uniswap. Uniswap's it's always fun. It's always fun to go on Uniswap. So you got a few options: KuCoin, Bittrex,
potentially
Uniswap.
Chainflip in the future. Who knows?
Yeah, I gotta tighten some screws on some people. I gotta get the electric torture chamber out to make that happen. But I'm still keen to get Oxen as easy to get as possible. We're back.
But we do have some connectivity issues. Seemingly, we're getting done in by that famous Australian internet.
Oh man, I'm running this through Lokinet. I hope that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not your end. That's the issue. They'll be able to figure out. We've got some rats in the walls trying to rewire some things and figure out what's going on over there. But I'm going to move on to the next question in the meantime.
Wait, before you do that quick jab at our own internet. So we got Jeff in the house right now, and he's running around like a classic Lokinet loving individual, and he's like set up a cool sort of like Wi-Fi network in the office that you connect to it, and it's like all through Lokinet as well. It's really, really cool concept. So that was my little joke I was kind of throwing out with Alex there, but it did not land. But we do have a Lokinet live network just like going at all times in the office, which is really fun. So yeah.
Yeah, actually, I was connected to the Lokinet router yesterday, and often I've heard Jeff talk about, oh yeah, I was running Lokinet and I forgot about it, and I'm like, how did you forget? Because my experience using it hasn't been quite like that. But with the Lokinet router, I legitimately did forget that I was connected to it, and I was in like a Google Meets call. Went through the whole call for like 45 minutes, and then afterwards realized that I'd been going through Lokinet the whole time, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's sick. It really is. It really is cool. I'm looking forward to, releasing monetization and sort of cleaning up, sort of like the onboarding process as well there. But yeah, right now, Oxen though. Let's get back to this juicy AMA. So
wonderful. Another marketing question coming up. How do we plan on creating a stronger link between Session and Oxen in both marketing and product?
Yeah. So already we've done a few small things, a few subtle things. If you look in, say, the settings of Session, you'll see a few little comments about, built on Oxen and stuff like that. We have tried to keep the brands and products separate, so we could maximize growth without a friction point. At times you can tell, even at this point in time, anything to do with crypto can be taboo. A lot of people don't understand the industry. So we try to leapfrog that, go straight to users who want the best privacy, deliver that product, improve on that product. Once we have a good enough user base, we introduce Oxen further, be it ONSs, be it paid features, be it how we communicate the brands as well. So say the Twitter or say the websites, how much we want to entwine and mix those things up, tie them together. There's also campaigns that we can do that are sort of cross-brand, cross-product, privacy-focused things, as we are a privacy-focused entity. It is really, I think over the next couple of months, you're going to see more and more of that bridging happening.
Wonderful. All right. Moving on to the next question. This one is about our good old friend, Simon. Old mate Simon, can we get an agreement between you and Simon that if we, Session, integrate Chainflip, that Chainflip will list Oxen?
I guess they're saying sort of like listing or integrating the Chainflip token as like a payment in Session, I assume. I assume that's what they're saying.
I reckon that's what they mean, yeah.
Yeah, there's no way I can get Simon to agree to this at this point in time, but look, I will head in this direction and I'll see what I can do. But I can't get other people to agree to things, but I can make Session and Oxen the best it can be to make us so attractive that people won't be able to refuse. I feel like we can make Session, Oxen, Lokinet so solid, so sexy, that it's less about what, it's less about sort of convincing people to do stuff for us. I think people will want to work with us in the future. I think not just Chainflip, but I think multiple projects will see what we're doing and where we're going, and they'll be much more attracted to integrating into Session, not just communities, but sort of products as well. So yeah, big bright future there.
This is a very interesting question coming up here. Another exchange-esque question, but not about Chainflip. This one, I think, must be from a local here in Australia. There are rumblings that Australian exchanges are looking to move to Hong Kong due to APRA. And for those of you who don't know, APRA is just a regulatory body here in Australia. Due to APRA's recent increase of snooping into banks and crypto, what is the impact of Oxen when and if this happens?
I don't think there's really much or any impact on Oxen. I don't know why crypto exchanges would want to move to Hong Kong of all places. It seems like Hong Kong is losing its power as a finance sort of location. I would assume people are actually going to go to like Singapore or Seychelles or something like that. But if you want to have a fiat gateway, if you want to be a fiat on-ramp, I think you do have to stay in Australia. So if you don't have a fiat on-ramp, then sure, do whatever. Okay. If you do, then you're probably gonna have to stay in Australia. And as a privacy project, the Australian crypto exchanges don't play nice with privacy due to our government regulation. So it's not like anything's really going to change in terms of us because we're privacy focused. It's not like, yeah, I'd be surprised if they went to Hong Kong. That would just really surprise me, seeing as everybody's leaving Hong Kong. And yeah, it just doesn't really, yeah, I can't see it really having any effect on us, but keep an eye on it.
All right, we are Seifu.
Seifu.
We are Seifu. How many full-time developers are on the team, and including part-time developers converted into full-time equivalent? Please give an accurate number if possible.
Yeah. Actually can't give you an accurate number off the top of my head. If you're going to do the maths and push them part-time into full-time in terms of like a point of a half or whatever, I would say we have just counting the remotes. I think it's like 14. I think I'm going to say 14, inclusive of QA. Yeah, I say 14.5 inclusive of on the part-time guys who, yeah, it's really helpful for the Monero code base. Wonderful.
And are we looking to add anyone to the team at the moment?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We definitely are. Android developers. We're looking for a highly skilled privacy advocate, someone who wants to get involved in the Web3 space. If you're in Australia, that's bonus points. If you're in Melbourne, that's double bonus points because we love to see face-to-face. It's always nice to bring people into the office and really connect with people. So yeah, we're definitely hiring. If there's any awesome Android developers out there, or you know somebody who's an awesome Android developer and they want to join the Session team, send them our way. We're interested. Yeah, please.
Wonderful. All right, this next question, there's a lot of concepts flying around, so I'm going to abbreviate it a little bit and reinterpret. So the roadmap is lovely, but obviously it is a bit more long-term. It's our plans for the entire year. And the weekly updates, likewise, are great. They give a bit of an update on what we're working on right now. But this person is asking if we could add a new kind of update, which is somewhere in between the two, which lists the near-term priorities and the planned execution timeframe. Maybe something that would come once a month or so. What do you think of that?
It's a classic statement for somebody in crypto to say your 1 year plan is too long term. But I'm often sort of like not living in the 1 year like time scale. It's often like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm often told to keep it simple, keep it short term. So it's surprising that the 1 year, this jam-packed 1 year, is seen as long term by some. But that's cool. In terms of really short term, like day to day, week to week, month to month, we can do like we're doing the weekly updates. I'm looking to get a little bit more involved in terms of pointing out the vision and sort of where we're going as a project and why we're doing it, really explaining the why behind what we're doing and sort of the how, rather than just what we've done and giving updates. There's a huge diminishing return when it comes to doing too many updates or doing like a lot of updates in this way. We're really focused on building, planning, and achieving things now and into the future. So yeah, there's quite a diminishing return with these sorts of things. And I actually think that doing a little bit less of the sort of content that we're doing at the moment, a little bit less of the getting in the weeds and really focusing on the bigger picture stuff is really how you engage with people outside of our community and sort of like bring in bigger communities and sort of scale bigger communities. I think there's definitely better routes to go down. So I think focusing more on the community that we have now and sort of creating content for what we've done and sort of in the shorter term, I don't think it's a good play. I think a really good play is doing things that scale more for people outside of our community. And yeah, because those in the community can see, GitHub, we're in the channels every day or so. We have so many channels that we're in, and we're doing the blogs, we're doing the content, we're doing the guides, we're doing a lot more stuff. And the whole goal here is scalability for bigger communities, bigger growth, month on month as we move through the year. So I don't really want to get too stuck in weeds because I don't think weeds are super productive. I want to get stuck in the big picture because it's sexy and bold, and we want to attract more people to the project. So that's my view.
Absolutely. And I mean, from my view, and we've talked about this a little bit before, is doing more things like this, which are kind of informal, just hopping on a live stream, hopping on a chat, sitting down for 30 minutes and just talking to each other, which we did with the Chats with Chris video, I think is a really good way to give this kind of update about specifically what we're doing in that sort of month or couple month time frame. I think it's a good format to do that kind of discussion, and you can be a bit more frank. You can be a bit more, authentic. I think, it's just chatting about where we're at, what we're doing right now, what the steps are, where we're going next, what we've just done, things like that. So I think, doing more of this stuff, hopefully the internet will work better in the future. But doing more of this kind of event is going to be a key part of this communication. And if you would like to see us change this format, please let me know, because, I've been pushing for us to do more of these live streams. And if you want to change the format, or if there's community feedback, I'm always open to that. So yeah, that's it from me. All right. What are the plans to properly market Oxen to get people building on the blockchain? Furthermore, it feels like a stable coin these last couple of years, and I think your node runners could do with the extra value. I think what they mean is, would we like to introduce a stable coin?
No, I thought they were saying that Oxen's been quite stable, yet node operators would like to make more profit, I guess, as a concept, which is fair. So wait, going back to the split into two then. So the first question was, or we can just start with the second one. In terms of rewarding node operators, it's a really important concept. Yes, it has felt like a bit of a stable coin. And it was a bit of a grind period, but we are sort of gearing up to change from grind and session growth, like changing from that focus on session period to a focus on Oxen period, which is in itself how we see rewarding node operators better, how we see Oxen achieving the sort of status that it deserves as a project. That sort of makes sense to people. But yeah.
Yeah, how about in terms of the first part of the question about getting people to build on the Oxen blockchain? So it's something we're going to be looking to do, and how we're going to do it.
Yeah, so we've changed. I don't think we're, in terms of building on the Oxen blockchain, we're not like Ethereum. It's been quite clear. We were previously, I think when we did the initial rebranding to Oxen, we were positioning it as a platform for developers to build on, sort of like a library. But we just didn't go down that route, and it was going to create like a lot of friction, and it doesn't seem like that's a very sort of easy and effective route to go down. So we went more down the not walled garden gatey kind of way, but we went really focused on specific products, high quality, kind of quality over quantity. So if people want to actually build on the platform, we would have to do, it depends on what they want to build. I guess we can work with people if they want to apply through the OPTF to sort of push things through, or if you want to do a sort of plan and coordinate your own hard fork and push something on there, go for it. But yeah, we'd love to just work with people if they do have cool ideas, things they want to build on the platform. It just doesn't seem like the optimal route at this stage to just sort of open the floodgates to have heaps of applications running on the network, because it doesn't seem like, it doesn't seem optimally built for that route at this stage. But in terms of contributing to Lokinet and contributing to Session and Oxen as well, as it's open source, as we're trying to open up the gates to developers to join us and sort of work with us in different ways to accelerate usability and sort of features, we're definitely keen for people to reach out in that way. So smaller things and coordinating with us is what we'd love to do, so we can stay hyper-focused on delivering the best products for our community and future communities.
Wonderful. All right, next question is a bit of a tricky one. So it's about the supply. Is the circulating supply of Oxen reducing permanently over time by burning? or is it elastic through both burning and creation of new tokens?
Yeah, elastic is a term that I only recently come across in the crypto world. Maybe I should have seen it sooner. But so in terms of us, I would say probably more the elastic way, where we're looking to the was it inflation rate's like 7% or so. The inflation rate actually decreases every year on year, because it's a percentage of the total circulating supply. So inflation is going down as a number. We are looking to monetize the applications, so therefore you'll have that upwards pressure on Oxen. So through Oxen, so through Session, through Lokinet, and through other tools that we may implement in the future, you'll have that upwards pressure as well through sort of pro versions of Session. And then we'll also have the block reward as well. We may change these things in the future. These aren't things that you can change often. These aren't things you can change easily, and they need full community buy-in and support. So we're not going to do any knee-jerk. I think a few people in the community have asked us to cut those things in half and cap supply. We have contemplated these things. But once we start talking about it, that's when we start getting serious, and we do want to get community support on whatever we do. So I don't want to create any rumors there or anything like that, but we do think about these things, and we have sort of with economic models, you have to be slow and steady, you have to be precise, and that's what we're doing.
Wonderful. Another question about the supply and about the economic model. This one is really interesting. So most community projects are structured in such a way that they reward the early supporters, such as the halvening that we see with Bitcoin. Oxen emission, on the other hand, does the opposite for early supporters. Any plans to switch direction? Kind of connected to the last question.
Little connection there. I would say, well, one thing that we did do for the early supporters, I guess, was the Chainflip airdrop as well. I think that was good to recognize that people have been here for quite some time. And it would be sort of unfair to have split off a project without rewarding those who have been around and stuck around, which is really awesome. So I'm really happy that we were able to make sure that all users and all node operators were able to, I guess, like rip the fruits of that. And hopefully once that launches, everyone will be quite happy about that as well. So yeah, do you have any other? What are your thoughts, Alex? Flip the one back on you, sir. Any ideas?
I'm gonna leave all of the decisions around the economics of the project, to the big decision makers such as yourself, I reckon.
Scaredy cat. That's fair. It's probably a good choice.
Plus, I was trying to monitor the live chat just then. So, but I do have a question from the live chat. Actually, there's two more early bird questions that we'll go through, and then we'll go over to some live questions. So, what is the team doing at the moment in terms of marketing?
What is the team doing in terms of marketing? Yeah, cool. So I guess we have multiple strategies right now. One of the things that has been gearing up for a few weeks now is how we're positioning Oxen. We have some internal goals and we have internal goals on where we want to see Oxen in terms of coin market cap ranking, where we see its value is, where we think it deserves to be, and how we can get it there. A lot of the strategies and thinking recently has been about what's blocking us, where are our blockers, where's our friction, and sort of working on ways to go to that. So marketing has been really focused on getting sort of the branding good to go. I'm sort of saying this word, I'm saying the same sort of words quite a bit here, but it's about setting the foundations for us to do campaigns that maximize outcome for Oxen. So I would say that's kind of the current focus. But Alex, as a fantastic marketing team, extravagant individual, could you please add a little bit more spice to that one?
Yeah, so at the moment, we're in this consolidation period. I was in the community talking about this yesterday, maybe the day before. We've been going through this sort of like cleaning up the backyard period of time, where we've been updating the documentation, improving and scaling some of our support processes. We've been pushing out a bunch of Oxen tutorializations. And while all of that is going on, we're also starting to work on some of this refresh stuff. Well, more than starting. We've really sunk our teeth into this refresh stuff. We've been doing a lot of work on that side as well, which is really sort of fundamentally rethinking the way that we talk about Oxen, the way that the audience that we're trying to reach, how we're going to reach them, figuring out what those funnels are to get, someone from knowing what Oxen is to actually, downloading the wallet to purchasing Oxen to running a service node, all of the different steps and all of the different levels that you can be involved, and making sure that we have clear paths for people to flow through, and you're trying to remove the resistance, which I think there has been quite a lot of resistance in the past. And it's really good, I think, that we took this moment to stop and rethink and start re-strategizing with this stuff. I mentioned this earlier, but I'm not sure if it got lost in all of the technical difficulties. But all the way back 5 years ago when we got started, the crypto industry and the people who were interested in crypto and the project looked very different to what it looks like now. And the same can be said as well from when we originally rebranded. The industry was completely different to how it is now in 2023. And it's really important that our brand and our messaging continues to evolve to keep up with that, which at the moment, I don't think we're there. But we've been thinking very deeply about it. We're doing the work. We're putting the work in to make sure that those foundations are there. And then once that's done, as we were saying, we'll move on to the flashier stuff like the refreshed visuals and the new website and new slogans and new promotion. And, we'll have Key popping up on podcasts and doing interviews, and we'll have articles going out and much more promotion, which you will start to see. We've already started putting the plans together and putting those processes in place. We've already been reaching out to people, already building those relationships so that when the brand is ready to go, we can just completely pull the trigger and, send it, which is going to be really huge. And so that was a bit of a long-winded response. So sorry about that. I don't mean to steal the spotlight from you, Chris.
No, I appreciate it. I was like, I feel like there's no one who's feeling well today who could say it better than that. A lot of the teams just freaking fluey at the moment. Every time we have we bring the team together, someone like all in the same room, somebody gets sick, and then it sort of knocks a few of us down.
It doesn't. It's almost like someone's put something in the water. But on the other side of the project, not speaking about the marketing side. What are the devs working on right now? Oh yeah, going back.
Yeah, sorry, just going back to that concept before about are we doing anything with the economic model to support long-term, like early adopters of Oxen? I do actually. I would like to do things to sort of like, it's not specifically for those people, but it's specifically for people who have Oxen at this point in time. Like, what are all the things that we can do to improve on the model? I do think over the next, like this year, I do want to revisit the question of, the supply, the question of, like cap supply, max supply, revisit the question of, is the reward amounts optimal? It's definitely worth just like questioning, researching, reviewing these like economic factors every year or two. It's not something you can change yearly, but probably every, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years or something like that, depending on the current market. As like I said before, the market is always changing, and we do need to adapt with the market. We just can't, there's a certain pace you need to move at to stay optimally pleasing for all. So yeah, I'm sort of excited to like look into that as well, because we do want to make sure that it's not running an Oxen node isn't a charity event. It is fantastic that people do it, but we understand that the underlying economic model is important for the project to succeed as well. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully this year we can make some further improvements and adjustments.
Yeah, absolutely. That's part of what makes Oxen so special. And yeah, you're right. Like, when we first got started, having an infinite supply was very common. But these days, people see infinite supply and sort of raises a little alarm bell, I think, these days in 2023 in a way that it didn't 4 or 5 years ago.
I think that will flip. That will flip as well in the next year or two. So right now, everyone's sort of against infinite supplies, but then as Ethereum's model of infinite supply, yet also burning more than what they're creating, or like as much or whatever changes that mentality. So it's something that, if we change now, I do think that in 12 months time, people would be like, oh, you didn't have to do that. It was sort of pointless. So yeah, many options.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly, for sure. And it's worth just having that discussion, I suppose. But let's move on. We've got still a few questions to get through. And we've spoken a lot about marketing, but what are the devs doing right now?
The devs be building. So we have a couple of devs working on Oxen Wallet 3, doing a lot of backend there. We have so in terms of Wallet 3, I won't go into it. It's sort of like rebuilding what we have without the complications, allowing us to build on those foundations in the future. It's a really important thing when we're trying to monetize Session, monetize Lokinet. Having an improved wallet allows us to, in a much lighter way, without as much friction, deliver really cool features quickly. So we're doing the groundwork there. It's not going to pay off straight away, but it's something that you get it done right, and it really accelerates you in the future. With Session, we have a few arrays of features that we're working on. So we have sort of like teams of 2 on each platform, and they sort of take turns working on individual sub projects, I guess. We're looking at right now, closed groups are in the works. This has actually been building decentralized things such as closed groups is a very challenging unknown sort of activity. We planned and we designed and we architected as much as we could, and then as you start getting to it, you realize there's new complications. So we've been working on that now. We've been working on it for a little while, working on I think the cleanup, the onboarding cleanup as well is sort of underway. We have sort of like multiple small things happening on Session as well, and some major ones. So yeah, closed groups can be amazing. Look forward to that coming out. And in the Lokinet world, as we're sort of gearing up to do exits, or to sort of start working on exits, there's a few sort of refactors that we're getting done to then allow us to accelerate on that. And on the same front, those refactors are to assist us with implementing Lokinet into Session as well. So we are sort of in the phase now where we're trying to bring Lokinet and Session together. And it's sort of okay, let's bring it together. Let's bring these 2 new decentralized applications together and see what magic we can create. And then we find problems, and then we have to go back and fix and resolve. So it's this sort of, it's like getting 2 running buses to weld together at the same time is sort of I guess, an analogy that I think explains that concept. But we're getting there, and everyone's on the bus, and we're going at full speed. So it's kind of exciting. Other than that, we are working on some website stuff as well, and yeah, so there's a bunch of small things. But yeah, stay tuned to the live updates for our weekly development updates.
Yeah, wonderful. All right, we're going to move on to some live questions now. We've got a few. I actually already asked one of them, accidentally, not realizing it was a live question from before the last stream went down. But here we have, hey, you had a building with Oxen page in your documentation, but it's gone. Can you please return it? I'm thinking about building an alternative desktop client and could really use something like that.
What did it include? What did build with Oxen deliver to the user? What have we cut out is the question. What exactly have we lost here?
I think Tom could probably answer that. I think we benched this one because, as we mentioned earlier in the stream, we're moving away from this concept of being a developer platform, positioning ourselves next to something like Ethereum or Secret or something like that. So it didn't seem super relevant to have it in our documentation, but if you reach out to me, I still have the copy that was there. I'm happy to send it through to you if it is of use, but I'm not sure what information is actually there, which would be helpful at this time.
Yeah, actually get in touch with us so we can work out what you're trying to do, how you're trying to apply it, and if there's anything we can do together as well. And if there's something we can change on the guides. So yeah, if we removed it, it's probably out of date or had some issues with it. So do let us know. Reach out.
Wonderful. All right, we have a question from Marcos here in the live chat. Could you discuss our approaches to monetization and getting users to customers?
Cool. Great. let's start with Session. So with Session, our goal was to get, when we said this for a while, we want to get 1 million users on Session, a million monthly active users on Session. We actually get quite a few. I think we're just past the 500,000 mark. I think that once we get a few of those features that I said before that we're working on, such as closed groups and onboarding and sort of cleaning things up, it will result in faster, bigger communities, getting us close to that 1 million mark sooner. Once that's done, it then becomes more viable to release a paid service. So paid service, think just briefly, don't hold me to this one, please. Just like a quick example, say Twitter, you get your little blue tick, but on top of that, you can do like larger file transfers or other smaller features that are taxing on the network, and then that reward goes to Oxen, therefore it goes to the service node operators. So it's that sort of completing that cycle where service node operators are doing the work. Yes, they're getting rewarded, but if they do more work, they're getting more rewarded. And it's about making sure that that's sort of able to happen. And with Lokinet, the thing that I'm so freaking excited about with Lokinet is that the thing that we've designed is so good. It really is from my perspective, I think the economic model and what we're going to be doing with Lokinet is so good. It's sort of, it's, say it without saying the whole damn thing, because it is mildly complicated. It's reasonably complicated, but you pretty much can't participate in the network without sort of paying to a degree. Like you can, we just built this really cool model where you can still use it as a free user, but to be able to offer the service as a provider, there's like just where the cost sits. So we've built this really cool model where Oxen is essential for that. And as we scale Lokinet, there's a really, just a really complete way to return value to Oxen through the utility of Lokinet as well. So pretty much offering services that tax the network goes into buying and burning Oxen or through app stores to sort of achieve the same sort of outcome. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm going to jump in a little bit as well, just on that concept of getting people from being just a user to being a subscriber, right, or a customer. That's going to require coordination between the marketing team and the product team to make sure that we have that conversion funnel as lubricated as possible to get people going from user to customer. The first thing that we have to do is build a really compelling product. Something where Session Pro or whatever it may be, delivers more value to the user than the regular Session, which is, what we currently have and what people will continue to always have for free. And, then we'll go from there, making sure that we are able to, connect with those audiences, the user audience, the existing user audience, getting them to convert to subscribers. And then figuring out as well what our retention strategy is to make sure that people continue to subscribe, not just for 1 month, but continually, and growing that subscribed user base.
Yeah, we're not just building features that we think people would pay for. It's sort of really targeted to who we feel like our users are, what would they pay for, what are we getting requests for, and then what would tax the network as well. So sort of bringing those features together to make people want to pay for those features and services. Wonderful.
All right. Hate to put you on the spot on the live stream here, Chris, but this will be the final question for this morning. We've got someone asking how much in the Treasury and Runway. A favorite question of yours, I know.
Yeah, so it's really annoying. I would love to just go, dollar for dollar is what we've got. In terms of where we sit, we like to have like a certain amount of money in cash. I'll just sort of break down the aspects. We like to have a certain amount of money in cash. We understand that the sort of speculative investment market is a little bit shaky at this point in time. So we're also looking to bring in income from, there's a few non-profit there's a few services that offer grants for us. They offer grants for Signal and Tor. That's how they got a lot of their funding to get to where they are. As we see Session and Lokinet as sort of global communication infrastructure, we sort of fall under that as well. So we're anticipating getting a few grants this year, which is really helpful. We have quite a large stake in Chainflip as well, and we sold a small portion of that as well over the last year or so. So we have I don't know. It's not really worth going dollar for dollar. You have a good amount of like fiat currencies to, stay away from if something happens to stables or whatever. We have our allocation of Chainflip that we're looking forward to sort of, going live over the next few months. Very excited for the Chainflip project and team and sort of supporting them there. And then we also have, we've created some software recently as well and sort of sold it to some third parties to just make sure that we can hyper-focus on this project and make sure we have enough runway and capital to keep going. So I would say we have enough cash to build everything we've said we're going to build at this point in time. And I think that along that path, we're going to have monetization, and it's less about runway and more about sort of sustainability this year for us.
Wonderful. All right. Now, as promised, that is the final question for today. But I do have a trade offer for the community, a special offer, if you will. We had some issues, some technical troubles this morning with our live stream. But my proposition is that we may do another AMA event early next week. If people don't feel like their questions have been answered, or they missed out on questions that they wanted to ask, or they got lost halfway through the stream because the link changed, that is totally fine and understandable. But we are happy to come back and continue answering your questions. We will be posting out on socials, or let us know, or DM me, or however you want to get in touch to let us know if that is something that you want. And yeah, that is my trade offer.
It's a good trade. Double or nothing. Double or nothing.
Absolutely. So we will be roping you in yet again for another stream, Chris. And this is something that we want to continue doing. As I spoke about during this stream and the last stream that we did, this is something that we want to keep on going. I think this is a really good way to keep the discourse open and the chat going with the community and keep those communication streams open, which is something that we really want to focus on this year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for everyone who joined us. We appreciate you all. Looking forward to having more solid internet connections in the future and having more consistent, delightful Q&As and AMAs for everybody.
Wonderful. Yep. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time. That is the end of our stream
See everybody.
for today. Ciao.